Aristotle's philosophy is grounded in virtue theory, a theory of human excellence. Virtue theory in contemporary political philosophy is often contrasted with utilitarianism, a political philosophy whose moral reasoning is based on the logic that any action should be judged according to its results, that whatever results in the greatest good for the greatest number is the morally correct action. Or a third political mode of reasoning, deontological reasoning, a view which says that the individual is absolute and supreme and cannot have its value compromised. A view that says humans must always be treated as ends rather than means, and that the morally right action cannot be compared in any sort of consequentialist way of reasoning. So take a type of political scenario that we can imagine that would invoke different responses from these three different kinds of political philosophy. Take a scenario in which there is an individual terrorist with a bomb in a crowded city. And unless this terrorist demands a certain individual who's completely innocent is sacrificed by the government, then he will set off the bomb and kill 100 people. So the terrorist is creating a political calculus in which either one individual life will be sacrificed with no deserving reason, or 100 people will be killed. Now, the consequentialist, the utilitarian, says that it's an easy calculation. 100 is greater than 1, and so the calculus, the just thing to do, is simply to sacrifice the individual. The deontological, or we could even say the rights-based reasoning, says that the individual is sacrosanct, that there's no way to treat individual as a means to some greater ends, that it's fundamentally wrong to harm this individual who doesn't deserve it, and therefore, even if a greater number of people will die, then this individual must not be sacrificed. Aristotle would say this is a very difficult calculus, and he would say to the deontologist, what if it were 10,000 people? What if it were 100,000 people? Even then, would you not sacrifice this one individual? Aristotle's virtue theory would say that moral reasoning isn't about decision rules, that it's not about a kind of calculus that allows us to make these kinds of decisions, and that it's not about rights-based rules that determine what kinds of decisions can or can't be made. Aristotle would rather locate the morality of this situation in the person who's making the decision. He would say that these kinds of decisions call for virtue. In fact, that they call for phronesis. They call for practical wisdom. And so Aristotle says there isn't any rule-based answer to this kind of political quandary. What you must have in this situation is a political agent who has the practical wisdom in the context, in the circumstances, and all of their complexity to make the right decision. Which of these three is most satisfying to you? Is Aristotle's way simply a cop-out, a way of avoiding outlining what kind of decision would be made in this difficult circumstance? Or is it the most realistic and the most satisfying way to resolve these seemingly impossible moral problems?